P.
Are you sure that your name is Top Pennington? What's your name?
How about we take a break for that?
Michael.
Michael Pennington, yeah. Sorry.
You want your CV real quick? Just like,
I'm fine.
since I haven't given, can I give him a CV since we haven't practiced this? Y'all good with that? There.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I was reading Todd.
No, I get it. I'm so sorry. Alright, we'll start. Would you please state your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Michael Pennington.
Mr. Pennington, I'm going to ask you a few questions just so that the court and the jury can get to know you a little better. Is that okay?
Sure.
What do you do for a living?
I am a cell phone forensics analysis.
And how long have you been in this line of work?
Wow, I've been doing this for over 25 years.
And what else do you do?
I do computer repairs, data recovery. I'm all around geek when it comes to computer stuff. And I teach
What subjects do you teach?
information technology.
Mr. Pennington, what is the focus of your personal studies?
Personal studies is cell phone forensics.
And have you written anything related to these studies?
2 textbooks.
So you've, your works have been published?
Yes.
Have you ever been an expert witness at trial before?
I have. Yes.
And do you get paid for your time and expertise as an expert witness at trial?
Yes. Fair wage.
Do you have any certificates or degrees, Mr. Pennington?
I have a CV that's as long as my arm, but name a few. Training, computer enterprise investigation, in computer science forensics, basic mobile phone forensics, CE boot camp, network packet forensics analysis, computer enterprise investigation.
So have you attended any training throughout the years just to keep up with the current standards?
Yes, several cell phone data forensics training 1 and 2, and then advanced cell phone forensics.
Do you use these professional standards and methods in your research and evaluations?
Absolutely.
And did you use these methods in your evaluation of today's case?
Absolutely.
Mr. Pennington, have you reviewed anything in regards to today's case?
I reviewed the information provided for me on a cell phone.
Okay. Has reviewing these items led you to form an opinion about today's case?
Absolutely.
And is your opinions based on all the materials you have reviewed?
Absolutely.
Is your opinion to a reasonable degree of professional certainty?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time we submit that Michael Pennington is an expert in the fields of network, digital and cellular forensics.
Any objection to Mr. Pennington being qualified as an expert in the field of cell phones and digital forensics?
No, Your Honor.
All right, without objection, Mr. Pennington will be so qualified. You may proceed.
Mr. Pennington, why are you here today?
I was asked by the defense to testify on behalf of the defense to analyze some data, so
And
provide information.
in searching the cell records of Josh, what did you find?
I found that his cell phone had pinged at several towers throughout the day, as well as text messages that were sent and calls made to numbers.
Mr. Pennington, can you tell the location of a cell phone from the pings and the call records?
Not
Or the call records?
Not the exact location. The way cell phone towers work is, out of the 360-degree area of the cell phone tower that sends a signal, each area is divided into a 120-degree pi wedge named alpha, beta, and gamma, A, B, Y, respectively. And what the information on the cell phone tells you from which 120-degree pi wedge the phone call came from and the time it came from.
So in layman's terms, can you locate the general location
The
of the
direction.
call?
Correct.
Okay. showing has been labeled as exhibits 5 and 6. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Mr. Pennington, what is Exhibit 6 that I'm showing you?
This is a call record of the cell phone that was found on the defendant.
And have you ever seen this before?
Yes, I used this information to make my analysis.
Okay. Is this a fair and accurate representation of the cell record?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Has this been materially altered in any way since you last saw it?
No, it has not.
Your Honor, at this time, I want to submit Defense Exhibit 6 into evidence.
All right. Any objection to Exhibit 6?
Yes, Your Honor, this is hearsay.
Any response to that? What is it's the cell records? Okay, yeah. What is your response to that?
It's a cell record.
Still hearsay.
Yeah, I'm working on that. Hold on. Excuse me one minute. It's a business record, and it was relied on by the detective in his research. According to the rules of federal evidence, Mr. Pennington can testify to what he used in gathering his data and research.
He can testify to it. That doesn't make it admissible, does it?
No, sir, it doesn't. But it's still a business record from his. No, it's not. There's something, and I know there is, and I'm blanking completely right now. I've got nothing. All right.
We'll admit it at this time, but we'll need to work on that.
Sorry.
That's fine. Overruled. You may proceed.
My bad. It's fine. Thanks. Mr. Pennington, what was the last phone call made that night? What time was the last phone call made that night to,
On the 19th?
yeah, I guess the 20th, to the 704-555-8888 number?
That was at almost 2 a.m.
Do you know how long that phone call lasted?
It lasted about 2 minutes.
All right. Your Honor, at this time I'm showing prosecution, but it's been labeled as Exhibit 14. Oh. May I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
Sorry. Have you ever seen this before, Mr. Pennington?
Yes, I had a hand in helping me.
And what is that?
It is a cell phone tower map, and it shows the directions of the tower sections.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of the cell phone tower map?
Yes,
Has it been materially altered in any way since you last saw it?
it has not.
At this time, motion for Defense Exhibit 14 to be entered into evidence.
Any objection to Exhibit 14?
No objection.
All right, without objection, Exhibit 14 will be entered into evidence.
Mr. Pennington, would you please hold that up? Or, Your Honor, may Mr. Pennington step down from the witness stand?
Yes.
Would you step down, Mr. Pennington, and show this to the jury? The phone call at, oh, there we go. Okay. The phone call that took place at 1:58 p.m. or a.m. on July 20th, where is that on the map?
Well, it pinged off of Carolina 764A Gamma.
And can you point the jury to where that is on the map?
Yeah, that's up here, to the top right, left to the right.
All right, and where's the, can you, please point to the location of the victim's house, please?
Yeah,
Or-
the victim's home right here. This is the cell phone tower, the victim's home.
All right, and so according to the forensics and to a reasonable degree of professional certainty, where would Josh have been at exactly 2 a.m. on July 20th, 2014?
Well, he would have had to have been within these two this ledge right here.
And by looking at the map and the location of the cell towers, how far would Josh have been from the incident at about 2 a.m.?
Roughly 4,000 miles to 3/4 of a mile away.
All right. To your knowledge, no further questions, thank you.
All right.
Let me first publish this to the jury.
Any cross-exam?
Yes, Your Honor, and I would ask for the court's indulgence while I prepare a demonstrative aid for the cross-examination.
Do you need something?
These boards.
Okay. Your Honor, I object to this. Anything that he writes on that is, I mean, I don't know what he's gonna write to this, and so before he writes on the board and publishes it to the jury, as an exhibit, I ask that he explain what he's about to do.
Well, we'll see what happens as it happens, and if there's an objection to what he's writing, you can make it at that point.
Permission to, reposition.
Sure.
Yes, Your Honor, may I proceed?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Pennington, I want to talk with you about the technology that you use in tracking phones. Now, it's not GPS, is it?
No, it's cell phone towers. GPS involves trilateration, false views.
And because it's not GPS, it doesn't give you an exact location of where a phone is.
No, it doesn't.
It can't tell you an address that a phone is at when a certain call is made.
No, it can't.
It uses cell phone towers, right?
Correct.
And using those cell phone towers, all you get is an estimate of the phone's position, is that right?
Correct, more or less.
Those cell phone towers cannot give you the exact location of a phone at a certain time, is that right?
No.
Those cell phone towers don't track where a phone moves after a call is made, is that right?
Not specifically, but you can tell a person may have moved if it pings off another tower.
Only if they make another phone call, is that right?
Correct, on older phones, correct.
So the phone communicates with the tower and registers on this call log which tower only at the time that the call is made, is that right?
Correct.
It doesn't account for the phone's movement after the phone call is made.
No, it doesn't.
Now, you prepared a map with the cell phone towers in the area of the Eigenbrock home for this case, is that right?
That's correct.
Now, I want to talk with you about some specific calls that were made on this map.
Okay.
Now, you would agree with me, and Your Honor, it may be helpful if Mr. Pennington has a copy of the call record that was already entered into evidence. want to direct your attention, Mr. Pennington, down about halfway, a phone call made 7/19/2014 at 20:41. You see that phone call?
Yes, I do.
Now, you would agree with me that that phone call was, at the time it was made, it pinged off tower 199B.
That's correct.
I'm going to write the time of that phone call by that tower. It's court's indulgence.
Backing your map up so that I am not crowding the jury and so I can see what you're doing.
You can reposition if you need to.
I didn't, okay, thanks.
So that 2041 call pinged off this tower, is that correct?
Correct.
This is the tower that is closest to the victim's home.
Yeah, out of those, yes, correct.
You would agree with me that based on these records, that phone call lasted for a total of 1 minute.
Correct.
That means that call ended at 20:42.
That would be 1 minute later. Correct.
But you would agree with me that another minute later, at 20:43, another phone call registered. Is that right?
Yes, it did.
But that phone call, 1 minute later, registered all the way over here on this tower, 764A. Is that right?
It has.
You would agree with me that the distance from this tower to this tower is almost a mile.
It looks less than a mile. 2,000 feet is 5,000. A half to maybe 3/4.
3/4 of a mile, is that fair?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And only a 1 minute disparity between these two phone calls registering on those towers.
Well, yeah, because the phone calls aren't necessarily to the nearest tower, but in the direction of the tower that would facilitate it, based on network load.
So based on these, a person, when a phone call is made, can be anywhere in this arc. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. That's
They could be all the way out here at the end of this red line.
well, in that area as it extends outward.
They could be all the way out on these far edges of these arcs. Is that right?
Correct.
Person could be way down here.
More or less, yes.
And in this case, a phone call jumped from this tower to this tower within 1 minute.
Yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean the defendant moved closer to that tower or that tower.
But you would agree with me,
But it did ping off of two different towers within that 2 minutes. Yes.
within the 1 minute.
1 minute.
Now, there's another series of calls I want to talk with you about. Those were the calls you and your attorney talked about. Those were the calls made at, I believe they're listed on here as 1:58 on 7/20/14.
Yes.
Now, you would agree with me that that phone call pinged off of this same tower that we were just talking about, 764A,
Correct.
at 1:58.
Correct.
And again, you would agree with me that based on this map that you created for us, this phone call, anywhere within here,
Mm-hmm.
or it could have jumped onto this tower. Is that
Not
right?
necessarily.
Well, based on those prior calls, though, within 1 minute, this jumped from this tower to this tower. Is that right?
Right. But it's, the tower's pinging isn't that based on the distance a person is from that tower, but which tower can facilitate the phone call. So he could still be at the victim's home and ping off of 764A because the victim's home still falls within the wedge of 764A.
You've never.
You
Thank you, Your Honor, for
literally
the
just
questions.
blew the case right there with that.
Really?
Yeah,
You said it doesn't tell distance, that's the whole point of your place, two places at one time, so you just said he could be at the victim's home if it's out.
Well,
It's
his whole thing is that I moved. All right, so let's backtrack. Let's
You just
time out.
said that his cell phone could have been at the victim's home.
yeah.
I'm on the defense,
Like-
y'all. I am so learned. I've been doing the prosecution for this for the whole time.
You were doing your crocs?
Yeah, basically. I'm sorry.
Would you like me to leave the demonstrative up for a read?
Can we just backtrack? I didn't
I
say
mean,
that.
you can't, I can't come back from that.
Well, we're testing. That's my fault because again, I was
No
doing
worries,
it
yeah.
from. I've been doing it
Yeah,
cross.
Colin,
Because I was like, yeah, this is what I'm
good
doing the
job,
whole time.
done, right there,
Let's back up. Let me make this harder for you.
mic drop.
All right, so go back to your question,
Okay.
if we can do that.
Reset the cross and go again. Just start over.
Okay.
I'm gonna permission
When you're
to-
doing these, Colin,
Yes.
make sure you have a lot of this tower, that tower, this tower,
Right.
and on a record, I have no idea what tower you're talking
The
about.
name.
And it doesn't matter if you don't have a record, but you're going to have attorneys in there that are going to say that to you. And if you can say, so, you know, tower set, identify them every time you do it. That way, the attorney's gonna appreciate the fact that you're creating a clean record and they'll score you up for
So
that.
you can say at the end of the red line on the right of cell tower 640, or whatever A.
Just give directional information.
Okay.
Left,
Okay,
right.
yeah, so the right line, the red line that moves to the right of 764A or to the left, you know, just give descriptive information, that way the record's clean on it.
Okay.
Colin, also think it'd be good when you're saying military time to also
Convert.
say, and that's
No, it's
Baylock
okay.
tonight, isn't it?
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Just to,
Yeah, convert the
because you
time.
don't want a juror sitting there trying to count to figure out what time that
Right,
is.
right. Okay.
Now, the thing is, this cross may end up going that way. Like,
Yeah,
if a team
Yeah.
isn't going the same route we're going with the pinging and all this crap, like, that might happen. Like, and if it does, you just got, I mean, you got it.
Just pull out.
You sit down and you write down the exact words they use for
Yeah.
your close.
You just repeat, you repeat it, you say, so your testimony is this, thank you, I have no further questions. Just
My
as-
fault,
I mean, I
folks.
think
Again, Ryan was doing his cross.
There's nothing I can do.
That was a
All right.
good cross.
Let's run it again.
So, shit, this is what I'm doing.
Okay. Now, Mr. Pennington, the technology you use to track cell phones, it's not GPS, is it?
No, it is not.
It doesn't track where the phone moves after a phone call is made, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't give you an exact address or location of where a call is made.
No, it doesn't.
After that phone communicates with that cell phone tower, all you get is a best estimate of where the phone is.
Within a pie wedge, yes.
Then a pie wedge, but that is an estimate, is that right? Now, you would agree with me that that pie wedge does not account for where the phone actually moves after that phone call is made.
Not after the phone call. No.
The phone can go anywhere after that call is made, and it wouldn't be reflected in the charts that you made.
Yes.
Now, there are a few phone calls I want to direct your attention to, Mr. Pennington.
Okay.
Now, you would agree with me that at the phone records you're looking at, halfway down the page, there's a phone call listed at 7/19/2014 in military time, 2041, so 8:41 standard time.
Correct.
That phone call pinged off of Tower Carolina 199B.
That's correct.
So that phone call is on this tower right here. I'm writing the time right beside that tower for the members of the jury. 199B. That call picked up on this tower.
Correct.
You would agree with me, that tower, 199B, is closest to the victim's home.
Correct.
And you would agree with me that phone call at 8:41 lasted for 1 minute.
That's what the law says. Correct.
That means that phone call ended at 8:42.
Correct.
There was another phone call made immediately after, is that right?
Yes. At 2043.
1 minute after this phone call we just talked about.
Yes.
Now that call at 2043 pinged on a tower all the way over here, 764A, is that right?
That's correct.
You would agree with me that in a space of 1 minute, the cell phone pinged on a tower nearly 3/4 of a mile away.
Correct.
Now, another phone call that you talked to your attorney about pinged off that same tower, is that right? It was at 158.
Correct.
That phone call pinged off the 764A tower at 1:58 a.m. on July 20th.
Correct.
Now, you would agree with me that you don't know where the phone moved after it pinged on this tower, is that right?
The after the 158.
Yes.
No. No.
You would agree with me that based on this map, you can't tell us where the phone actually was at the time that call was made.
No.
Could be anywhere in this area, is that right?
I mean,
relative to the highway.
So anywhere in this area, that's where that call was made from.
Correct.
No further questions. Kind of, like, I'm going for that. It's like
What you're going
unreliable.
for, what you're going for is that phone was anywhere in between.
Right.
Those red lines are basically an infinite line coming out, and it's somewhere in that range.
Like, we're going for it's unreliable, and you can't really tell where the
I
phone
got
is,
that
and they
from
hop
the
back and
unreliable.
forth.